From JBS Studios in Greater New York, this is the JBS News Update with Teisha Bader.
I'm Teisha Bader with the JBS News Update for Thursday, July the 12th, 2018. Israel responded last night to the Syrian drone which invaded Israeli airspace yesterday. As we reported to you, the drone was shot down by Israel after the IDF established it was operating from an enemy state, with remnants of the unmanned vehicle falling into the Kinneret, the Sea of Galilee, in northern Israel. In response last night, Israeli jets struck 3 military posts in Syria. Damage was caused, no injuries were reported. The IDF once again stressed that it will continue to operate determinedly and decisively against any attempts to hurt Israeli civilians and breaches of Israeli sovereignty. And the situation in Syria was one of the main topics discussed yesterday between Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and Russian President Vladimir Putin as the two met in Moscow. Netanyahu addressed the Syrian UAV incident at the Kremlin. He told Putin every such visit is an opportunity for us to work together to try to stabilize the situation in our region, increase security, and increase stability. He said it is clear that our focus is on Syria and Iran. Our view that Iran needs to leave Syria is well known. After their meeting, Putin invited the prime minister, his wife Sarah, and 2 ill children the Netanyahus brought with them from Israel to watch the semifinal match of the World Cup. Meanwhile, some 40 Syrians in need of medical treatment crossed into Israel in the pre-dawn hours of the morning yesterday. Mothers and children entered the Israeli Golan Heights as part of the IDF's Operation Good Neighbor. This operation, known as Operation Doctor's Appointment. Ynet reports the Syrian patients said they were afraid at first to come because they said they regarded Israelis as, quote, Zionists and enemies. But they said they discovered it was really the opposite. And Tuesday night, also part of Operation Good Neighbor, the IDF delivered care packages and donations from Israeli Golan residents for Syrians who have fled attacks from the Assad regime and are living in displaced person camps on the Syrian side of Israel's border. A federal judge in Argentina has asked Russian officials to arrest an Iranian suspect in the 1994 Buenos Aires AMIA Jewish Center bombing. Judge Rodolfo Canicoba Corral wants Ali Akbar Velayati, a high-level Iranian advisor to Ayatollah Khomeini, arrested in connection with the attack. Velayati was Iran's foreign minister when the AMIA Center was bombed, killing 85 people. He was also scheduled to meet with Russian President Putin yesterday in Moscow. There has been an international arrest warrant out for Velayati as well as for other Iranian officials since 2006. World Jewish Congress diplomat Caroline Berdugo addressed the United Nations Human Rights Council in Geneva last week, asking it to recognize that anti-Semitism and anti-Zionism are the same. Berdugo, who is Jewish, born and raised in Paris, spoke of recent anti-Semitic attacks in France and combating the growing threat.
Today, Jewish communities are increasingly targeted by anti-Zionism, which is a new manifestation of anti-Semitism. Their common thread is hatred of Jews, and their common goal is to deprive the Jewish people from the rights enjoyed by any other citizen. In this regard, we applaud President Macron for recognizing in a statement made last year that anti-Zionism and anti-Semitism are the two sides of the same coin. We therefore urge the Council to adopt similar language, recognizing that anti-Semitism and anti-Zionism are one and the same.
The Conference on Jewish Material Claims against Germany said this week that Germany has agreed to pay another $88 million to fund social welfare services for survivors of the Holocaust. This most recent round of negotiations by the Claims Conference will, according to its president, Julius Berman, lead to more home care, food support, medicine, and transportation services for Jewish Holocaust survivors around the world. Claims Conference Executive Vice President Greg Schneider said although no amount of money can ever compensate for the indescribable suffering and losses of Holocaust survivors, these elderly heroes deserve the recognition that increased payments and much-needed services will provide. The Women of Reform Judaism awarded grants this week for programs strengthening Jewish life and engagement in North America, Israel, and around the world. $321,000 in grants was given to 15 programs through the WRJ's Youth Education and Special Projects Fund. Among the programs, Union for Reform Judaism special programs, Hebrew Union College scholarships, rabbinic scholarships in places like Buenos Aires, London, and Moscow, and special programs of the Religious Action Center, promoting social justice and pluralism. While an Israeli professor's work on the development of humans from the prehistoric era to modernity is being turned into a movie, The Hollywood Reporter reported that the bestseller Sapiens, A Brief History of Humankind by Israeli historian Yuval Noah Harari will be adapted into a movie with renowned director Ridley Scott and Oscar-winning documentarian Asif Kapadia at the helm. Kapadia said of Harari's work, "It is a book that changes how you see the world, and our adaptation should do the same, to serve as a wake-up call for who we are, where we have come from, and where we are heading." Taking a look now at our programming for tonight on JBS for Thursday, July the 12th. At 7 o'clock, it's Talmud Study with Rabbi Mordechai Becker. At 8 o'clock, it's a look at whether the two-state solution is still possible from Limud, New York, 2018. At 9, Mark Golub sits down for part 2 of his L'chaim interview with former chairman of the Conference of Presidents, Richard Stone. At 10 o'clock, more from the recent American Jewish Committee Global Conference held in Jerusalem with remarks from Jerusalem Mayor Nir Barkat, among others. And coming up right after this newscast tonight at 6:30, it's the Debka File. And that's the JBS News Update for Thursday, July the 12th, 2018. I'm Teisha Bader.